Hey, and welcome back everyone. Today's a bank holiday Monday, which means we have the day off in the UK, and usually bank holidays tend to be somewhat miserable, rainy, wet, but as you can see behind me, we have glorious weather today, so that means I can get out into the garden and maybe a bit of a barbecue at the end of the day. Got a few things planned today. First things first, I have to get that lawn mowed. That is getting a bit long, so got to get that out the way first. But then got a couple things to do in the greenhouse, and also have a few things to do with these. So we're going to be putting together some hanging baskets with those plants over there, and we are then going to be doing something with this in the raised bed, and I'll show you that in a little while. But first things first, we got to go and mow the lawn, so let's get that out the way. So the mowing's finished, but unfortunately not without problems. This thing came off, so I have grass just spraying everywhere, so I wasn't able to collect any grass for my compost heap today. I managed to get a little bit before this thing broke, but not as much as I'd like. Anyway, at least the mowing is done. Looks a heck of a lot neater. So now I can get on to doing some of the more interesting things. So we're gonna sort out the raised beds now. And you can see they're pretty much ready to go. I just need to mix in a little bit more finer compost onto the top there, ready for the seeds to help them out with the germination. We've got these two to fill. The one down the end there's got strawberries and they're doing very well. And these two over here we're also going to be filling up. We're going to start off with this one over here. I'm going to be planting some peas over here, as well as a couple other veggies. Now it's a bit late in the season probably to start peas. Peas like a little bit colder than the temperatures that they are at the moment, but I've got a bit of a plan and should hopefully help them out. So let me go get what I need and then we'll get started. So the first thing is to create something for the peas to climb with. So that's what this is for. So that'll be for the peas to climb, and we're going to spread that across where we're going to plant the peas. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that shade cloth at the back there, and I'm going to put some just on the bottom layer, just so it protects the ground a little bit, so it cools the ground a bit behind where this is going to be, and hopefully that will help the peas a bit. The peas won't mind the sun, full sun coming up where their leaves are at the top here, but at the base we've got to just protect them a little bit. Let me get that done and I will show you the finished deal. So we're done with the trellis, and we've planted the peas. So we've just put some stakes in the ground, and then we've put this little trellis onto it with some zip wires, and that's all going across there. And about 10-15 centimeters high we've put this shade netting. So the sun predominantly comes from that direction coming in towards me, and that means that we should have some shading over here, so it should keep that a little bit cooler so that the peas have a better time of it and they don't get too scorched. So we'll see how that goes. I've never actually grown peas, so it'll be interesting to see how these do. I'll keep you updated through the season. So I'm going to plant some more things into the raised beds, and I will let you have a look once I've finished with them. So here we go, we planted a few things in the raised bed with the peas. We've got some radishes there and some bok choy. Just a couple rows of those. We haven't done anything with this raised bed over here just yet, or that one. That one over there I'm going to be growing my gem squashes, so I've just started germinating them. I'll show you them in a second. But once they're ready, I'll be putting them in there. I'm also waiting for a bit of an arch-like frame that I'll be using. It'll be quite high, about 1.5 meters, 2 meters. I'll be using that to support the gem squashes. So over here, I'm growing some snap peas. I've just created a bit of a wigwam, or a bit of a support there. And we'll try that. I mean, you can do peas this way as well, but I'm going to give it a try with these snap peas, You can see there's a bit of ash in the middle. I did the same thing on that side. I added some ash from my fireplace, so wood ash. The pea family really likes the ash to be added to the soil, so I've added some there. I've also added some fish blood and bone meal to the base of the plants and planted the seeds over there. And over here I just have the one row of little gem lettuce, and as soon as those start coming up, I'll plant another row, just so through the season we're going to have lettuces. So let's go have a look inside the greenhouse now. Let's see what we're doing in here. So I mentioned the gem squashes. These are from seeds that I saved last year, and I'm sure we'll have a couple more coming through, so keep an eye on that. And over here, obviously, the chili peppers. They're doing really well. I think they need some water. It's been a very hot day. And that over there is a bit of a soil experiment I have going on, and I'll show you that in a future video. So I'm comparing store-bought compost and my homemade compost. You might notice I have done a lot of very drastic topping of these plants. You can see here, that's pretty much snipped off the top, but we have some lovely leaves coming through there, just as I was hoping. Over here as well, I did something really drastic there. You can see all the leaves came off, but there's some new growth coming through. I have set it back quite a bit, but that wasn't my intention. We'll just see how that comes out. But the rest of the plants are doing well, and they really are going to start taking off now. I need to start moving them out so that they each have their individual drip feeders or drip waterers. Make my life a bit easier to water these. So that just means spreading them all around. I'm not ready yet to put them up to the bigger pot size, but it's not going to be too long before we do that. So there we go, we spaced them all out now, but at least now they'll get watered using the automated system. I've tested all the drippers and they're all working fine, so I'm happy with that. It'll be a couple weeks, I think, before I go and pot them up to the larger pots. They're all growing well, they're all establishing themselves quite nicely. So a quick update on the brick heating system that I have down here that I talked about in the last episode. It does work. The flame itself is not making a hell of a difference. The greenhouse is just a bit too big, but the bricks themselves are doing a great job. Anything that has thermal mass will store up heat during the day and then release it slowly overnight, and that's what it's doing. We did have sub-zero temperatures last week, but I had no problem at all. So what I would do to make it a bit more effective is maybe a few more flames, a few more candles, or some other heat source, but ultimately it's just a case of having enough heat inside here during the day that will release overnight. So let's go have a look at the other greenhouse. I have a few more seedlings coming up over here, and some of these are going to be planted into the raised beds, but I was just giving them an early start. You can see there I started some peas, and there's some gem squash. Nothing come up there just yet. Pak choy, that's come up very quick. We've got some cucamelons. I liked those last year. They grew quite well. So we have a few veggies that are germinating here. We've also done our flower baskets. They're not looking very happy right now, but they'll be a lot better once we get them into the sunshine. I've given them a good watering now. So that's it for today's update. I'm ready now to get the braai going, cook some steaks and have a beer. I hope your gardens are doing well and that you're enjoying the sunshine, and we'll see you again on the next video.